The birds, the traffic, the train noise, sounds of the CNO. And at long last, I can enjoy coffee again. Seriously, it's basically been since the 10th I've been so queasy. And I drink a little bit just to get some caffeine, but oh, I hope this sticks. I don't want to go through that anymore. It is nice enough here when the traffic and the trains have died down. It was kind of a loud commute hour this morning. Really wet. It did rain on me for a while last night. I had to wake up and zip the fly. And, you know, it's just getting humid that time of year. I am still feeling a little nauseous, but it is noticeably better. And I didn't wake up going, oh God, I just want to be unconscious again. So that's a good sign. Should be able to polish off the rest of the CNO, get to Oldtown. I've got a little bit of water to get me there. Still planning to get food, get some water, and then we'll see what the roads are going to be like. And if it seems like I'm always late leaving camp right after I've been in town, basically, because I can't edit videos in town nearly as enthusiastically. And it's even worse when I've been down for several days. Like, I didn't want to work on anything just because it's a miserable period. I don't want to be going through it, much less remembering it, much less working so I can remember it later. So I always have to do a lot of kind of extra sitting there forcing myself. I've been working at it for hours. But that's okay, because the next episode will hopefully be something along the lines of Twisters of Love. Wait, no, I mean back to normal. Yeah, we'll go with back to normal. Twisters gotta wait for Jen to get back. The site seems kind of ideal right now, but 6 a.m. when I was doing my edits, there was just all sorts of traffic noise, air braking, trains going by. I couldn't even do a voiceover. Nobody else showed up when I got here because I'm paranoid about stuff like that and bad experiences. I was going to go set up in that corner, and then I was going to go set up in that corner, and eventually I'm like, no, I'll stay out of the mud. It'll probably be fine. My love for the Nemo Hornet 2-person has been documented at length. You know, basically just get rid of the stuff sack it comes with and best tent on the market. However, I messed up. I damaged one of the poles, and then I tried to buy a replacement from them. In addition to just making a good tent, Nemo is really, really good on the warranty. And I'm like, literally, please just tell me how much it costs. I want to buy another set so I don't have to worry about this patch job. Well, they sent me a brand new set for free, but they've improved them. And if you see, these are kind of short. I'm pretty sure that is because of bike packers, so they can fit in like saddlebags and things. Unfortunately, I was so tuned with the old ones. I like to have them on the side of my pack. And these are, you know, more girthy, but less lengthy. First world problems. Getting nicer out here. They'd actually serviced that, so it wasn't full of fast food trash and other things. Kind of makes me wonder if maybe the pumps have been flushed or treated also, but it isn't worth screwing around with after this last week or so. So I'm still feeling just the slightest bit of nausea, but I was actually able to get peanut butter and everything down this morning. Mostly the last week when I've been eating, it has been just forcing it down because I know I need to eat. And since I get nauseous when my stomach's empty, I didn't want to have that adding on top of whatever was causing the other nausea. My resupply from a little bit before Hancock, basically the first time Brian picked me up, I still have enough for a couple of extra days, just because I've been eating off of it so sparsely. But that's fine. The next resupply is Fort Ashby, which is probably tomorrow. I think my mileages are going to get a little wonky again because I'm off of the CNO with its nice, satisfying mileage markers. That's what this little brown thing is. So ever since we exited DC, I've been able to get a precise location, which appeals to my sense of existence. This and comments are why I love Far Out. I just like having clean mileage numbers. I can put them in my spreadsheet, and it helps me keep an eye on, am I doing enough? And, you know, it's the old software engineer on me. I like putting numbers to things. I like doing stats. I do own several GPSs. I have one of the old school Garmin Oregons. I have had multiples of the GPS map. I have a Garmin Fenix watch, which is my current favorite. And talking about the GPSs and through hiking is one of my many, many unmade videos that I had a plan for and never the time for. But it's really not worth bringing one of those to track when I'm out here. The mileage is always off. You've got up to about like 15% off just due to the way of the actual mileage if you had like a click wheel or something, just because of how GPSs track. If you're sitting still, you'll see it'll kind of make a nest pattern jumping back and forth. So the track actually includes more mileage than you do. Now, certain things like Garmin will actually clean that up and get a little better if you import it using a computer, but the numbers are always a little off. And the worst thing for me is I forget to start it when I leave camp, and that drives me nuts because then I'm missing like XYZ miles. Plus, it's another thing to keep charged. Power is usually at a premium for me, do the video editing, etc., etc. So if I'm doing something interesting, you know, the Condor Trail, for example, where you're not always following established trails and there are not readily available tracks, then I bring it. When it's something where there are publicly available tracks like this, I don't. Also, when those things fill up, the Garmin Fenix is great, but there's this weird quirk with Garmin where it uploads your track to the internet and then downloads it back to your device. And if you do too many days in a row and that thing fills up where you don't have internet access, it is a real pain to get past that. Possible, but it's a pain. Granted, if I was tracking, I could really do a flex on all my runner friends, because every day on Strava it'd be like, oh yeah, you know, just another 20 miles, no big deal. And so welcome to the last 10 or however many miles of the CNO. Once I get to Oldtown, it looks like I'm on roads for a couple of days, go through a couple of little towns like Ashby. There is, based on the research we were doing, which basically means getting on Google, Jen and I, maps and looking at where things are, there is about a 95-mile food carry. Now, on a normal trip on trail, relatively rough, that would be, you know, a good size food carry. Here, I do have some nice folks who have a house along the way who, they visited us before, and they were going to let me stay there and clean up. So I'll probably do my usual trick of doing a resupply, getting my batteries charged, etc., in the middle of that stretch. And then it's a lot of 50, 60 mile carries. And if I'm going 20 miles a day, 50 miles is actually a little too short for me. I don't like having to waste the time, walk a block or two off trail and go into the store and repackage. I'd rather carry enough for 3 or 4 days and just be able to enjoy the in-between period where it's just walk all day and not have to worry about anything. If you're curious how the water is going to work once I'm off the CNO, you know what? So am I. It's basically the same as it was before. You take opportunities to fill up at gas stations, anything like that. If somebody is working in their yard and I get a friendly reception, I'll usually ask them to top off my water from a hose, things like that. I do not like knocking on people's doors. Blame trying to sell magazine subscriptions as a kid and getting yelled at by people for coming onto their property. So I err on the side of carrying more water. I actually have an additional 1.5 liter bottle just because that gives me, a day and change pretty easy, even in hotter conditions. And when I can fill up, I drink as much as I can, but it certainly is an additional point of stress along with camping solutions. And this is why I am grateful for the Hiking America dataset, because he's included a lot of additional notes from other hikers. So it's not quite like Far Out, because you basically have to send him a comment and it goes on a waypoint, but it does help versus just having the straight GPX data. Because then okay, this church has been friendly in the past. He's including contact information. He's been adding things like some of the stealth camps that I've used that I feel good about, I've sent to him. It did get a little buggy yesterday, seems to do that whenever it warms up enough. I haven't seen any ticks. However, I have seen some full-grown mosquitoes. Had one in the tent this morning after I made coffee. Fortunately, they don't seem to be hungry. There are times when there are mosquitoes around, but they're just kind of doing incidental bites, or they're not biting at all. I've had that too, especially if they're smaller. And then there's the times where the slightest gap in the tent, you just get charged by ravenous mosquitoes that will go for any exposed skin, anything cloth. You know, see Minnesota and Louisiana last year. I carry a head net and barrier layers, basically a pair of wind pants from Enlightened Equipment and a rain jacket, plus the gloves if it gets really bad. And that will let me protect myself if it gets really bad. Downside is, if it's also really warm, that can be quite unpleasant. Almost stepped on this guy. Hey, guy. No, you're not hiding. These benches have been periodically installed all the way along here. They're an awesome addition just for people like me who are adverse to city and leafy green things in tick country. If anything, I wish there was twice as many. You'd think after 4 days off, more than that if you count that first break, that my feet would be fully recovered, but then you wouldn't know how my feet act out here. Now that is a half-decent hiker-biker site. You can actually get some space if there are people there being obnoxious. Not enough space, but this is the Town Creek Aqueduct. Just talked to a guy that had walked in and was fishing. Per him, there are wide-mouth or smallmouth bass in here, which is interesting because these are basically isolated lakes in a lot of cases. I mean, you've seen as I go, it goes down to a trickle, it'll be dry, and then you'll have one of these lake-like sections for a while. Oh, whatever this surface is, it is lovely. No little rocks, soft on my already battered feet. Oh, this is an interesting one. Again, I like the hiker-biker camps with more room. I'm really hoping that one restaurant in Oldtown is going to be open. And that is it for the CNO for me. But there is a schoolhouse kitchen that I'm going to hope is open over here. As usual, my low stress section wasn't fully low stress, but hey, I survived. Okay, for once something's open. I am going to try and drink as much as I can, eat a little bit, and then see if I can talk my way into about a gallon of drinking water to carry. I swear there is something about me that inspires people to go mow their lawns the moment I'm coming by. So that was a very, very nice stop. Friendly people, I got reasonable food, lots to drink, and I have a fresh gallon on my back. I also met a trail angel, one who appears on the Hiking America map up ahead. He's another 14 miles, so I don't think I will run into him, but it was kind of entertaining to have somebody come up and go, "Oh, are you on the ADT?" I was also able to plug in my phone and get an episode uploaded so everybody doesn't think I'm currently being a wimp, sitting off trail, in bed, moaning about, nausea, etc. Now, my plan had been to resupply at Fort Ashby. That is only in about, 10, 12 miles. There is a Dollar General a little further. So I'm thinking I'm gonna see how today goes, but I may just go past Ashby, hit that Dollar General to supplement. And then I have some friends who came and visited Jen and I, who were going to let me top some stuff off at their place. And we were able to send some of those instant beans I like so much, so I'll be able to get good dinners again when I see them. Per the trail angel up ahead and some folks who were out and about that recognized me. There is somebody about a day ahead. There's also somebody within a day behind me. So it's more crowded than I would prefer out here. And after 160 often pleasant, sometimes miserable miles, I am done with the CEO and hitting pavement again. I am also done with Maryland. And entertainingly enough, the route in over to West Virginia is a privately owned toll bridge. I remember seeing a picture of this during those big rains, and this was all underwater. I don't know how long you couldn't cross it, but yeah. So not the worst timing I've ever had. I also had an interesting chat with that trail angel about some of the other folks out here and the people he's seen, because he's been talking to people hiking by for years. People with carts, people with 150 pounds of gear on them. Crazy stuff. And hello, pavement, my old friend. I do really miss the state line monuments from some of the bigger trails. Also, man, the green in the sun. This is just disgustingly pleasant. I am really hoping my 0 dog attack streak lasts, but we'll see. At least so far, people are friendly here. Never mind that Brian and co are all in West Virginia, and they saved my butt. That guy just stopped and offered to give me a ride to the place I belong. Oh, it is pretty out here today. I do miss having easy access to brake spots and things. 4 o'clock. My feet are only mildly resembling hamburger. Assuming they don't melt down, I might actually make that trail angel on the far side of Fort Ashby. I think it's just about 8 miles to Ashby, from what I can tell about the coordinates. And at least so far, the camping options have been all but non-existent. There was one church I could have tried to call, obviously too early in the day, but it's a lot of open fields and private property. I will say, I have been spoiled by how flat the CNO was. Okay, it's like they're marking every turn here so far. $5.50. My feet aren't doing great. This is the sort of situation where I would pull over and camp, except everything is this. If I do another 6 miles, there is a trail angel that allows camping in his yard. It's the same guy that I met at the exit to the CNO. However, that is a long 6 miles at the moment with how rough my feet are. And also, it's just been a lot of hills. Like, this is flat, but it's been more hills than I've seen for the rest of this trail, I think, in the last 10 miles or so. But yeah, at least for the moment, all I can do is keep limping forward. Like I said, if I can find a safe camp spot, I'll pretty much stop on the dot. I'm at maybe 19 miles. So doing another 6, that's getting into the range of, hey, that's gonna hurt and maybe do some more damage to my feet. My plan is to hit that subway, get dinner, top off my water, knock out a couple of miles to that Trail Angel, and hope that's halfway quiet. I do really like subways. Non-greasy food, bathrooms, and a fountain where I can fill drinks every time. Almost there. I don't know what exactly this place is, but it says Trail Angel Charlie. And okay, the guy in the mower just recognized me from the schoolhouse. There we go. And Charlie the Trail Angel came through. He's even giving me access to a garage here with power. He's offering to let me sleep in a cot in here, but I kind of like my tent, you know? I never say no to power, but I think I would prefer to sleep out. It's actually a nice night. My desire to charge up my gear is currently warring with my desire to get horizontal, and the horizontal thing is winning quickly. Just me and the deer out here. Something to be said for those periods where, you know, one day you'll be looking back and remembering the hard and the crazy days and all the things like that. But at the time, you're just trying to survive the days. Home sweet home for the night.